Hello and welcome back to the Dangerous Zone channel, where we bring legends to life. Today, we're re-diving deep into one of the most iconic tales of heroism ever told, the story of St. George and the Dragon. It's a legend that has echoed through centuries, a powerful symbol of good triumphing over evil, courage conquering fear. But how much of this epic story do we really know? Is it just a myth? A piece of medieval folklore away? Is there a deeper truth hidden within the narrative, a historical seed from which this incredible story grew? Let's set the scene. Imagine a city. Some say it was Cyllene in Libya, terrorized by a fearsome dragon. This wasn't just any beast. It was a plague-breathing monster that had made its nest by the town's spring, the only source of fresh water. To get water, the townspeople had to offer a sacrifice to appease the beast. First as sheep, 2 every day. But soon, the livestock ran out. The desperate townspeople, faced with an impossible choice, began sacrificing their own. Each day, a lottery was held, and one person was chosen to be fed to the dragon. The king himself did not shy away from this grim tradition. The lots were cast among all citizens, including the royal family. One fateful day, the lot fell upon the king's own daughter, the princess. The king, heartbroken, pleaded with his people, offering all his gold and silver to spare his child. But the people refused. They had lost their own children, and the king's daughter must face the same fate. And so, dressed as a bride, the princess was led out to the lake to await the dragon. This is where our hero enters the story. St. George, a Roman soldier of Greek descent from Cappadocia, was traveling through the region. As he rode near the spring, he saw the weeping princess. When he asked her what was wrong, she urged him to flee before the dragon appeared. But George, moved by her plight and his own faith, refused to leave. He vowed to stay and fight, telling her, "In the name of Christ, I will help you." Just then, the dragon emerged from the water. The princess trembled with fear, but St. George was unshaken. He made the sign of the cross, mounted his horse, and charged towards the beast, brandishing his lance. With a single, divinely guided blow, he struck the dragon, wounding it grievously. Now, here's where the story takes a fascinating turn. He didn't kill the dragon right away. Instead, he asked the princess to throw her girdle, her belt around the dragon's neck. Miraculously, the ferocious beast became as tame as a lamb and followed her back into the city. The townspeople were terrified when they saw the princess leading the dragon. But St. George calmed their fears. He announced that he had been sent by God to deliver them from this monster. He promised to slay the dragon for good if they would all convert to Christianity and be baptized. The king and all his people, numbering in the thousands, readily agreed. So, St. George drew his sword Ascalon and finally killed the dragon. In its place, the king built a church dedicated to the Blessed Virgin Mary and St. George, and from its altar, a spring of healing water flowed. This version of the story, the one we are most familiar with, was popularized in the 13th century in a collection of saints' lives called the Golden Legend. It's a powerful and dramatic tale, filled with symbolism. The dragon represents paganism and evil. The princess represents the church, and St. George, of course, is the champion of faith. His victory isn't just a physical one, it's a spiritual one. He doesn't just defeat the monster, he converts a whole city, bringing them from darkness into light. But did it actually happen? Well, historians generally agree that St. George was a real person. He was likely a Christian officer in the Roman army, who was martyred around the year 303 AD under the Emperor Diocletian for refusing to renounce his faith. The story of his martyrdom is one of immense courage, but it doesn't mention any dragons. The dragon-slaying element seems to have been added to his legend much later, probably sometime in the 11th century. So, where did the dragon come from? Dragon-slaying myths are common across many cultures, From the Babylonian hero Marduk slaying the sea serpent, Tiamat, to the Greek god Apollo slaying the python at Delphi, these stories often represent the triumph of order over chaos, of civilization over wild nature. It's possible that as the legend of St. George spread, it absorbed these older, pre-Christian, heroic myths. The dragon became a powerful metaphor for the paganism and heresy that the early Christian church was fighting against. Think about it, a brave soldier of Christ defeating a monstrous serpent. 2. It was the perfect story to inspire faith and courage during a time of great religious and political turmoil. The image of St. George and the dragon became incredibly popular during the Crusades. Christian knights saw themselves in St. George, fighting a righteous battle against a formidable enemy. He became the patron saint of soldiers, knights, and eventually, entire countries. Most famously, England, but also Georgia, Ethiopia, Portugal, and many others. The tale also resonates on a deeply personal level. We all have our own dragons to face our fears, our doubts, the challenges that seem insurmountable. The story of St. George reminds us that with courage, faith, and conviction, we can confront these inner demons. It's a timeless allegory for the human struggle. The hero doesn't win because he's physically the strongest. He wins because his cause is just and his spirit is unbreakable. 2. Even the details of the story are rich with meaning. The fact that he wounds the dragon first and then tames it with the princess's girdle is significant. It suggests that evil isn't just to be destroyed violently, but can also be subdued and led to its ultimate defeat through purity and faith, represented by the Princess Kahu. The promise of baptism before the final blow reinforces that the ultimate victory is a spiritual one, soul. While a historical encounter between a Roman soldier and a literal fire-breathing dragon is highly unlikely, the legend's power isn't in its literal truth. Its power lies in its symbolism and the enduring human values it represents. It's a story that has been told and retold, painted by masters like Raphael and Rubens, and woven into the cultural fabric of nations. It's a reminder that heroism isn't about being fearless. It's about acting in spite of fear. 2. It's about standing up for what is right, protecting the vulnerable, and holding on to faith in the face of overwhelming darkness. The legend of St. George and the Dragon is more than just a myth. It's a mirror reflecting our own capacity for courage and our eternal hope that, in the end, good will always triumph over evil. What are your favorite legends of heroism? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more legendary stories. We'll see you in the next video.